One. Hey everybody, it's Edie Sellers from Gamehounds. With me is Holly Gully. Hey Holly, Gully.
I'm here.
So we're just covering, going to recap the Electronic Arts E3 2013 keynote. Just got finished. Long enough ago that I could go to the bathroom and then come here because I've been eating soup and drinking soda because that's all I can do. All I have time for. So, all right. E3 2013 starts out with Peter Moore, who actually played the best joke so far at E3. I thought Modern Warfare, wait a minute, that's Electronic Arts, or that's Activision. What's this? And it turns out that it is introducing Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
that was at first I was like, oh, this is stupid.
It's another war game.
I was just like this is stupid, it's cartoony and this and that. But then I was like, oh, wait a second, it's almost like Sanctum 2.
Yeah, there's an element of strategy of tower defense to it, and it looked good too.
Yeah. The only thing I couldn't figure out from there, and if this was the case, I would probably be picking this one up somehow, is if that was like a co-op setting, because it looked like you were playing together with somebody, but I didn't know.
Yes, they introduced, it was a 4-person co-op survival mode. That's what they were playing.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah, it looked really good. Looked super fun. I was actually outside sitting next to Kevin because we were conferring about what that Apple's keynote for the year is today as well. So between the Xbox One and this one, we just had about a half hour to kind of sit and talk to each other, find out what we knew about what we'd been watching. And so I was watching the first couple of minutes of it out on the front porch. And Kevin was watching it with me and was laughing the whole time. And I thought, hey, that says something. Because he's never played Plants vs. Zombie. I've never played it. I know it's super popular.
Played it for a few minutes. Wasn't real impressed with it.
Yeah. It's one of those games that looks like it's going to be a whole lot of fun for just a bunch of people to come and rumble together. Especially in the co-op mode. So, already we've got people in the chat room. The big news, of course, I guess we might as well just shoot to the end, tell you what the high points are. The big news is Mirror's Edge 2. And with a release date of when it's ready. So
I thought the high point was they showed every single sport except hockey.
Except hockey. I noticed that.
It's like all right, they're showing all this great stuff about basketball and soccer and fight. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see what they do with hockey.
That's what I was thinking about it for you. I'm like, as I'm watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, goalie's bored. But hockey's coming, right?
Well,
so he's
football,
okay.
I mean, too. I'm not a basketball guy. I do like playing video game basketball. I don't know. It's one of those things that just you'll never catch me watching basketball on TV, but I do enjoy video games basketball. And so I was watching that, but I was like, okay, they got everything covered but the hockey. They got, archery and, lawn bowling and everything, cricket. Here comes the hockey. No.
We have a question in the chat room already. From Jason Webb, was Plants vs. Zombies on PS4 as well? They only announced, and it was John Vici from Top Hat Games who said Xbox One initially, and then on Xbox 360. So he didn't mention PC, didn't mention PlayStation 4. So maybe that is a Microsoft exclusive, at least initially. But didn't say either way. Didn't say exclusive, didn't say not exclusive, but did say Xbox One first and then on 360. Yeah. And also, one of the things they just literally threw out there, just pitched it out, got less than a sentence practically, Peggle 2. You and I both know that Shoddy Yeager is explosive about that right now.
I like Peggle too. Peggle Knights did nothing for me, but Peggle's Peggle. It's you can't get mad at Peggle.
Yeah, I can't. Especially when I have Yeager in my ear. Peggle party.
Oh, I know.
Getting drunker and drunk. Oh, Peggle party.
I did that one night, I think, with him. We had the Peggle party.
Yeah. Aruga says no cricket either. Do they have EA cricket?
Are we live? Because I'm not showing us live here.
Yeah, we're live. We've got Dave the Tech talking. We got Shonikin talking. We got Aruga talking.
I keep refreshing my page. Oh, because I'm on the Keynote page.
That would be why.
Gamehouse page. Here I am.
Yeah, Adam Fulton says, bring me hockey. Yep, totally lost in that when they hit the EA Sports. They did cover football, basketball, UFC. Is that it? Just those three?
It was football, basketball, U.S. soccer, FIFA.
Soccer, FIFA, right. And then UFC. So, yeah, totally. I guess they're not doing hockey this year.
What would have been really cool, and this is just me kind of dreaming out loud here, but is if they said, and then with hockey, we made it, more defensively because in playoffs, you block the puck a lot. So we've got a new physics where you can slide in front and block shots. And, maybe on the cover would be that guy from the Bruins that broke his leg and continued playing for 60 seconds on a broken leg.
Wow.
I don't know if you heard that story at all, but he blocked a shot, he broke his leg, and he stayed on the ice hobbling around the best he could on one leg, and he's done for the year. But it was pretty amazing. It's like, so it'd be great if you could have that in the game, where just blocking shots and have him on the cover. But that's just a big pipe dream. They didn't even have nothing about hockey.
Right. I would imagine that hockey is probably more information
and baseball.
About hockey. It's probably on the floor.
Yeah, Dave the Tech says no baseball either. But baseball's kind of like in swing right now. So, I see baseball would come out in February. I think it would.
Yeah, but they did mention a lot about the two new engines that they're working with, Frostbite 3 and the Ignite engine for sports. And Ignite engine is going into all of their sports. Looks like everything is going to be working far more intuitively, that the players are going to act like players. They're going to move like players. It's going to just expand the whole realism and make things happen a lot more realistically. And I would imagine that's probably going to come to hockey as well, although they did not feature that in the thing. But anyway, the next thing that they went on with was Titanfall. Vince Zampella, who was out at the Xbox debut and essentially announced Titanfall from Respawn, he came into the EA as well. He has announced that it is for the 360, the Xbox One, and PC. Again, PlayStation 4 not mentioned. Due out spring 2014. Single player experience. They kind of did a video talking to the producers and the community managers and kind of people within. So there was not. It really didn't.
That
do much.
looked better a second time around. First time I saw that this morning, I was like, Right. This time I did like it a little bit better.
And they kind of played up the fact that this is going to be trying to give you a single player experience, but doing it in a multiplayer world where you're going to have events much like and points of action that are very much like, I don't want to say cutscenes, but like cutscenes, which you get in a single player, you'll be getting that in that multiplayer as well. They're made a point of making the Titans very agile, and that you're going to be able to jump into and out of them seamlessly. And on top of it, when you're not in the mech combat, you are going to be able to do things like wall running, so you can get into and out of the Titans. So yeah, it definitely looked a lot better. More, I like the idea of making multiplayer feel single player. It has those punctuation points of a single player experience. That's it.
Yeah, I said I liked it a little bit better a second time around.
Yeah. Shonikin says, I suspect the lockout might have something to do with why NHL didn't show up.
It could be, but I mean, that the lockout ended, back in January. And now we're in Stanley Cup playoffs.
Right. And then they also introduced in a very, very, very short trailer Star Wars Battlefront.
I know. I actually picked up Battlefront on Steam. And I don't know what platform was originally for on the computer. I know I had it on original Xbox. And it's very clunky. It's so clunky trying to play that on Steam. But I loved Battlefront. In fact, there was one, I think it was Battlefront 2 that I played a lot, before I would go to work, I would sit down and I would play the Hoth level before I went to work. And whether it was online or whether it was just local, because it was great because the single player and the multiplayer were almost exactly the same.
Right.
They were just, you could, if you didn't want to go online, you could play local. and I would have to play that Hoth level, and I'd ride in the big, the whatever those Empire things were called, and then I get on the speeders, and I get on the turret, and I would just play all different things until it was over. Love that. Battlefront was awesome.
Well, it looks like you're going to get that game improved and not clunky.
Yes.
Next item that came up was Need for Speed Rivals, which looked really interesting. They had Marcus Nilsson, executive producer of Need for Speed from Criterion, and they had a really unique presentation to show you how in this game, Need for Speed is about the driver in a race, but then there's also a cop that's chasing you. So there's almost multiple games going on, with the cop being, his job is to hunt you down, whereas your job is to race and win the race. That there's going to be online and offline play, but a new feature called All Drive, where you can start in a single player game and be your racer and playing your race, and then when you get to a certain point, another person who is playing a cop will actually be playing his single player game chasing, but he's chasing you, and that your games converge and become a multiplayer game, even though they started single player. And then in the same demonstration, they had what's his bucket? Marcus Nilsson was on a tablet, and he ended up joining the thing, joining the match as a third person on his tablet, called as a helicopter. So he was actually flying a helicopter into it using the tablet.
This is what I was trying to say this morning when we recorded about, advancing the gameplay, getting me excited about some of these new things, because so far I've just seen blah, 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 the next, whatever. But introducing this tablet into it, I mean, how cool would that be? And this is one of the things, I guess I'm repeating myself, but I want to see something fresh and something different, something to get me excited. Seeing the tablet or the smart glass or whatever you want to call it, integration, that's neat, because picture sitting there, you're sitting there playing, either this game or Battlefield or something, and all of a sudden you pick up your iPad, and the wife picks it up or a friend picks it up, and he's sitting there playing right next to you. Mm-hmm. Same game, and he can call in strikes or do something with you. That gets me excited. That is something different in games that you can't do on the 360, or at least not to this degree.
Right.
It just you could sit next to somebody on the couch and you could play with them on the tablet. Or you have the choice. Maybe look, I'd rather just fly in a helicopter, so I'm going to pick up the tablet, not my controller. That was really neat, and that's what I'd like to see, some integration like that with the tablet. Not so much to connect, but with your iPad or with a tablet or with whatever they want to use, and have that option. And the drop in, drop out, that is key. That they really need to have that in all games going forward, the drop in, drop out.
I think that's going to be pretty much a standard, because it looked like both the tablet and the drop in, drop out was in more than one game that they've mentioned. And I want to correct something. Terry Sweeten actually caught me on it. He said Criterion. I think that one of the guys that was playing was from Criterion Games, but Marcus, what's his bucket? Marcus Nilsson was not from Criterion. He's from EA. But one of the guys that was playing was from Criterion. So, Gaza 306 is asking what price for the PS4. Any guesses? Well, the PS4 doesn't happen until later. I'm going to say it's probably going to be $50 more expensive than.
Well, really, more expensive.
I'm going to say it's going to be, if it's $499, I'm going to think it's $550.
You think PS4 is going to be more expensive than Xbox?
I think PS4 is going to be more expensive than Xbox.
Really? After everything that Xbox showing they're doing, even though I'm not into all the TV stuff and all the extra stuff?
Yep. I will bet you a Yingling that it's more expensive than Xbox.
Yingling Light?
Okay, Yingling Light. All right. Yeah, I'd say $450 tops. They may come in at $499.
Which
sorry,
would be the same.
or $599. They may come in at $599. Well,
so Xbox,
that's how they priced the PS3 when they did it.
So Xbox is $499.
Yeah. And
now they didn't announce if there's different kind. Like I know PS3 had all these different models.
Right.
Xbox did too, kind of. They had the this gig and that gig. So right now there's just one that we know of.
Right. And then the next thing they actually introduced, unfortunately, light on details, which is the one game that I'm really excited about. Dragon Age Inquisition. Aaron Flynn from BioWare came out. It's going to come out in fall of 2014. They did show the trailer called The Fires Above, and who comes back but, well, first off, they did kind of make a big mention of it, but the chick that was doing the Inquisition in the second Dragon Age 2, that she comes back, it looks like, as a commander. You may actually end up being playing her from the way it looked. It's just conjecture on my part. But the big person, back again, Morrigan. So as soon as I heard her voice, I knew it was.
I'm hoping they fixed that so it could be a goalie game.
Your problem with it was that it wasn't smooth, and that's the kind of thing about this is that with these new consoles, they are going to be smoother.
But that was a type of game like they would ask a question and you have all these answers to choose from. And I can picture you kind of like, oh my gosh, what do I answer? Oh my gosh, hands on your head. I got to get a coffee. Walking around the house, getting a coffee.
But that's how I played the last one.
Tapping on the desk. What do I answer here? What do I say? You know, I can picture you doing that because you're into the story. And you'd be like, just answer something.
That's right. That's exactly how I played. I labor over everything.
I tried it when the combat came. It was like, okay, I'm swinging my sword. No, I'm not swinging my sword anymore. What's going on? Yeah. It was very clunky to me. It wasn't smooth.
It wasn't smooth. And that's why I think that you will probably like this because these new chips are so much more powerful. These processors are so much more powerful than anything that we're used to. And it's BioWare. They're going to make it smooth. So, by the way, totally, this is to the chat room. Any of you who are into the Dragon Ages, do you notice that when you have a character that starts out on Xbox 360 or some of the earlier games on Xbox 360, say like Dragon Age, that they start out being super hot, and then when they get into the more realistic game later on, you notice they're not nearly as hot as they used to be when we couldn't see quite so much of them. Morrigan being, for example, she was like total hottie before, and now it's like when you saw her face and she's more realistic, it's like, that doesn't look like Morrigan. In fact, Morgan's supposed to be much better looking than that.
Well, that's how we all get when we get older.
I guess so. Childbirth has affected her, I see.
Oh.
What? She's maybe, childbirth never does you any favors. So anyway, chat room, go. So next came up was the onslaught of EA Sports talking about the Ignite engine with human intelligence and fluid motion. NBA Live 4, this is the big thing for them. It seems like every one of the sports games had one thing that it was like, we're going to make, this is going to change everything. It's going to be, and in the case of NBA Live 14, dribbling. Dribbling's changing everything because instead of your hand kind of being glued to the ball, your ball is actually being quote unquote released to the physics, so that your hand is actually moving independent of your ball, and the ball is actually moving based on what your hand is doing, as opposed to just kind of being glued there.
Yeah, that's really kind of funky.
Yeah, they're calling it bounce tech.
Yeah,
and they say it's all about the dribble. Ball handling connected to the hand.
The last hockey game that was the 13 they put out back in the spring. No, it must have been last fall actually. Yeah, it comes out September usually. They made some changes for like realistic skating or whatever it was, and it was noticeable. Mm-hmm. It really was. The hockey games that come out now, I didn't like playing hockey games because they weren't like playing hockey games. I mean, just probably because I play and I know what it's supposed to look like. It just didn't do it for me. This last hockey game by EA hit it out of the park. Mm-hmm. Out of the park. It was right on. I mean, before you go to check somebody, and they just jumped out of your way. Every time you went to check somebody, they jumped out of your way. Now, you check somebody, you check them.
Right.
You check them. Right. And that's how it should be. Guys can't – it's like Gears of War. Remember when as a ticker you go to blow up and the guy jumps 15 feet backwards and does a backflip to get out of the way of the ticker? And you're like, come on.
Yeah.
So that's how all the hockey games were until the most recent one. So they are really really fine tuning these games. And I'm
Yeah.
really excited about that.
And the other thing about the NBA 14 that I'm assuming, and I'm assuming all of this stuff is these kind of technological changes are going to permeate throughout all of the EA Sports games. But they made a mention that in NBA Live 14, that how a player plays in a real game is immediately going to be affected how that player plays in the game. It's not going to be updated every month or week or day or
right after the game. Yeah.
Within an hour after that event happens, that change in gameplay happens, it will update to reflect the actions of the player in the game.
Yep,
that's huge.
Yeah, now you wonder if a guy gets arrested for beating up his wife too, if that's going to be in the game.
Well, yeah, if it breaks his hand, or if he's got some kind of injury that affects his play, then yes, that injury is going to be affected in that game. But that's so cool that it's becoming more and more like real life, and it kind of in a way rationalizes why you might want your Xbox to be connected all the time to the internet, because you're constantly getting updates on these games.
Well, again, yes and no. I mean, maybe when you turn it on, if you enter the game, it checks when you go to the game. That's good enough. But to have it on all the time, constantly getting feedback, I don't know.
Cam Weber from the GM of American Football for EA Sports then introduced Madden 25 with the True Step locomotion feature, which is greater reality in the realism in the motion. Again, more realistic motion, more dynamic physics, being able to react to things going on. They call it the player sense feature, another feature where that players can scan the environment and be able to adapt so that they can bounce off another player and take advantage of holes that open up in the line. And speaking of line, their buzzword for Madden 25 was lineman. It's all about the lineman.
Yeah, that's what Nick DiNicola there, he was all excited about that because I know he's a big Madden guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and they said that the lineman changes, they're going to be able to dynamically sort and shift assignments mid-play. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really the AI intelligence is really getting there for those games.
Reading Terry Sweeten says, I think the eye is going to be in the box and required. It's how it tracks the controller in space. It's going to be a default part of the system so the developers can take advantage of. Oh, we must be talking about PS4. Yeah. So then the Drake came out, the rapper, artist.
Is that who he is? I didn't know
Drake.
who the heck he was.
Yeah. I know him best.
Because out here, Drake is a company that makes cupcakes.
Right. No, it's
Drake's. I was like, yeah, the cupcakes. And he's like, nah, I don't know who this guy is.
Any Degrassi fans out there? Holla. Sorry, I just where he came from was Degrassi. So FIFA 14. And then Matt Bibley, FIFA 14 came out. More dynamic, realistic changes. He started out with the crowds, that you're going to feel 100,000 people inside of a stadium, that the crowd is going to be more than just a bunch of pixels that are moving up and down and sounds. It's actually going to feel dynamic to you, and it's going to render the crowds realistically, and they are going to react realistically to what you play. And the players are going to have pro instincts with 4 times more calculations per second, and with precision movements. And elite techniques, I guess, is another feature of theirs that's going to affect how your moves and passes happen, give you a much more wider range of play available to you. Yeah,
I haven't played any soccer games in a while. In fact, Gazer over here in the chat room was saying he wants gameplay over data. And he says that FIFA is too much of an RPG, and he just wants a good game. He doesn't want a sim. He wants a great game. And I agree. That hockey lost me a few years ago where they got all complex with their controls. It was like this for that, and this holds your left skate, and this holds your right arm. It's like I couldn't play it. I could not play the hockey games for the longest time. Then all of a sudden they got smart and they said, oh, we can dumb down the controls if you want. So you can play with all 15 buttons going if you want, or we can just set it up so you can just pass and shoot.
Right. In fact, that's very similar to what Gaza306 says in the chat room. He says PS6 was the greatest soccer game ever because of the gameplay. You don't want to sit and play in so much detail. Just pick up and have a quick game.
Yep, that's how I am in the hockey. It's just you don't need to hold Y to get a guy against the boards and then use X to kick the puck and then this selects the guy's stick. It's just let me play and check and shoot and
Right.
I'm not here to, like I say, I don't want an RPG hockey game, and
you don't want to learn to be a hockey player. You don't need to get into that much detail. It's nice to have it available, but you don't want to do it all the time.
Yeah, they tried too much to make it a real hockey game where like if the puck's against the boards and the guy's holding it with his skate, the other guy can come in and pin him against the boards, and that never happens in my games. I mean, not my real games maybe, but when you're playing video games, that's the kind of detail you just don't need.
Yeah.
It's almost like in baseball, if you got to wait for if the guy, the pitch comes in and it's a ball, and you can step out of the box and it's hit X to tighten glove, hit Y to take off glove, hit like all those adjustments they do between the pitch. That's kind of what they did with hockey. They put in way too much that you don't need to play a simple game.
And honestly, that's why I have never been a fan of Forza. It is such a technician's game that it's like, come on, what happens if I don't know how to tune my wheels and stuff? It just it seems like a big block for new players that aren't super into the game.
I like if they have like the automatic options, like some of the race games. It's like we can just automatically upgrade for you, or you can tweak it yourself. And sometimes it's like, oh, do you want speed? Do you want control? Fine, but like I said, when you start getting into rings on your wheels, it's I don't know.
Yeah. Terry Sweeten says in the chat room regarding NBA Live, they said PS4 and Xbox One. Are they really going to skip the current gen with it? You're right. They didn't mention any of the current gens, and I would say yes.
Which is, well, this is my fear right now, is what they say, November, that this Xbox One's coming out.
Right.
And that's about the time, September, that's when all the hockey and the basketball come out for the fall, and football should be coming out in July. So they're going to, like I said, they're going to not put out anything. I can't imagine football wouldn't be out because that's a huge moneymaker. Madden on Xbox 360 is a huge moneymaker. I can't see that they would skip Xbox 360 and wait till November. Mm-hmm. Which is midway through the football season to release a new football game. I can't see that.
Yeah. I think, and this is just, there's parts of me that go that they wouldn't possibly do it because it's so much work and so much cost to do it, that they will do a 360 version that's kind of dumbed down, without all of these extra super awesome features because there's just not enough computing power in it. And then the super game with the extra, bounce tech and precision movements and elite techniques and all these other features are going to be Xbox One only.
Yeah, they did that with Ghost Recon. If you remember when the Xbox 360 came out, they had the new Ghost. I don't know if it was Advanced Warfighter or whatever it was, but it was the new Ghost Recon. And what it was is that in the top right-hand corner of your HUD, you could see the gameplay of your teammates. Mm-hmm. So if someone said, "Oh, I see a tank," you could hit a button and it would switch to their feed so you could see the tank or where it was.
Right.
Xbox One, I'm going to say Xbox. The original Xbox,
right,
screwing me up, did not have that feature in Ghost Recon. So they put out Ghost Recon for Xbox Original and Xbox 360, and the 360 one was way better with some of these extra features that the original one couldn't handle. So you had the option of both, and that's my fear here, is they're going to throw out some crap for the 360 because everybody wants to go out with a hot chick now, which is Xbox One.
Right. Jason Whip says, I think EA Sports should come out with a drinking game. Maybe then I could get excited about a sport. I'm all right with you there, Jace. I could definitely do a drinking game for EA with booze technology where the alcohol is actually separate from the glass and renders separately so it doesn't actually stick. Then in next item that came up in the show, Bruce Buffer, voice of the UFC, came out with Andrew Wilson of EA Sports, Dana White, who is the head of UFC, and then UFC champions John Jones and Ben Henderson, who came out to introduce UFC. And
yeah, that's what I went to the bathroom.
The buzzword for them is getting punched in the face. That they're going to have this MMAI system that allows you to alter strategies in a map, and it will also allow you to see and feel what it is like to be punched in the face. That is a quote. It's coming out worldwide spring 2014. But they did make a big deal about how when you're in a match that your strategies have to be dynamic, that you have to change your style all the time, and that this new MMAI system, which they didn't give an explanation of what MMAI means, but that it will also allow you to be able to make dynamic changes to your gameplay mid-match fight, maybe even mid-move. So yeah, it sounds like they're using that same theory, that same idea of changing things midstream, being able to update how people play immediately based on how the real person plays in the real world. And everything is going to get a lot more realistic, and the moves are going to get a lot more dynamic. And the actions are going to be, and the AI is going to think more like a pro player and less like a robot. So then they moved away from EA and into fighting games, FPSs, and started out with Battlefield 4. Patrick Bach of DICE came out and kind of pointed out that the whole thing about Battlefield 4 or Battlefield series is that it's supposed to be everything is destructible. It's a completely destructible environment. They call it Levolution. Ooh.
Yeah, and that's what was kind of neat when we went back and played the Battlefield 2 Bad Company. I actually started to play the single-player campaign again right from the start. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And one of the things that was really kind of neat about that was you could snipe or you could take an assault rifle or whatever, but I found myself taking the RPG, and when there's people in a building shooting at me, I would just shoot until the building came down.
Right.
And that was as good as a snipe shot and a lot more fun.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, and then, you can continue the story with the big ending that they had. But that was fun.
And Nick DiNicola from the chat room. Nick DiNicola. Who the fuck is Nick DiNicola?
Oh, man. Are you Nick-faced?
Nick-faced. Not in BF3, he says. Yes, that's true. That I guess I didn't really play much of Battlefield 3, that they couldn't destruct as much. But yeah, at least. And it looks like they're bringing back totally destructive environments with this 64-player online Battlefield 4. But this is another one of those cases where they're adding more features where you go, this is a game changer. This changes the way we play games. It's not only is it going to be 64-person multiplayer, but that a commander mode is going to be included, which allows the commander to have a bird's eye view of the battlefield and be able to order and instruct the troops of the 64-person team to be able to go. Essentially, he's going to run the battle. And what's kind of cool is that through the battle log, the EA's battle log, that you can actually interact with the game anytime, anywhere from a tablet device. They actually had 64 players on the screen or on the stage playing, plus Patrick Bach with a tablet who was commander, and he called in things like airstrikes. And well, it wasn't an airstrike; it was a missile strike.
Wasn't there another game that had a commander mode? Was that BF3? There was another game that had very similar, that there was a commander somewhere that was watching from above. And I forget what game that was. It was very similar to that there was a, someone that could oversee everything.
Right. Nick Nicola says that looked like the Battlefield I know and love. Hopefully Battlefield 3 was just a brief mistake. And let's face it, that Battlefield 64-person battle looked awesome. It looked smooth. It was. It looked really fun to play, and on top of it, they blew up a gigantic skyscraper.
Yes, they
like
did.
Kuala Lumpur-sized skyscraper that came down. That was awesome.
Building's coming down.
Better get out of here. This building's unstable. Okay. You don't have to say that twice.
Let me just take the elevator.
Yeah, Terry Sweeten points out that, Mag on the PS3, but Mag was not a very good game. I tried it. I tried to like it. I really wanted to like it, and it wasn't a very good game. But boy, Battlefield 4 looks really good. And I like the fact that, you could be sitting at work, and as long as you have your tablet, you can take off. You can take a break and be commander and watch what's going on the battlefield and be able to call in missile strikes for your buddies. That's pretty cool. And then finally, the map that they showed was called Siege of Shanghai, so I guess it was Shanghai and not Kuala Lumpur. And today and for the next 3 days, you will be able to watch. Actually, it would be tomorrow and the next 2 days after that. You will be able to watch 64-person live streaming from the Battlefield booth as people are playing on the show floor. So you can even though you can't play it, you can actually see it happen as it happens live and see how people are using it and what it looks like beyond just the demo that they showed. That's honestly pretty ballsy because this is due out, 2014? Is that what the time they said? Did they say the time? They didn't have a date on that, did they? Can't remember. I think it is 2014, spring 2014. But that's pretty ballsy to be able to be live streaming the demo at E3 because, things go wrong and people do things when they're playing live. And it's going to be able to be seen and or theoretically recorded and being able to post it other places to see how people are playing. So, and see what kind of stuff happens, bad things that could happen. But I'm going to be checking in and taking a look at it because it looks like it's a fun game to play.
Yeah.
And then finally, the last thing they brought up, they said one more specific thing that DICE has been asked by gamers for years. That's coming. We're going to do it.
Yep.
And it was Mirror's Edge coming when it's ready. So
Get
that's
the hamster cam ready. See that furry little creature.
what the fuck? Anyway, Mirror's Edge 2, Faith is back.
You liked that one. I think Nick liked that one too.
No, I did not like it.
Yes, so that's what I said.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I think Nick liked it. Lots of people loved it. I thought it was okay.
I didn't play it.
But I'm also didn't really give it it was good a try as I really needed to. I didn't give it a college try. So, Battlefield 4 is October 29th, 2013. So, okay, well, maybe that makes more sense that they would be having that many people playing and feel that confident about it that they could stream it live. Hey, Gamer Girl 101, perfect timing. We're just about to leave. Because we were just finished up talking about Mirror's Edge, which they didn't really show anything. They just show Faith. It was just a tease. But that is 11 new titles that are coming out in the next, fiscal year, I guess it would be. No, yes, Gamer Girl, we really are leaving. But 11 new titles. High point, low point for you, Goalie?
Oh, boy. A high point definitely had to be the Battlefield 4 because I've liked a lot of the Battlefield series and, Battlefront and all that stuff. I've really liked all that. And it's good to see that it's coming back. BF3 did nothing for me. I don't know why I hated it. I just hated it. Didn't. I played it for 10 minutes, and I knew right away I wasn't going to like it, But BF4, yeah, I liking what I saw. I really am. The tablet connectivity and the whole bit. So that was kind of the high point for me. Low point, I'm not into that MMA fighting. So it looks like they're spending a lot of time on that. But I guess the low point, yeah, no hockey. Would love to see what they could do with new systems with hockey.
Right. My highs, I hate to use yours. I mean, my heart goes out to Dragon Age Inquisition, but they really didn't offer anything. If I'm not going to pick Battlefield 4, I would probably say that the thingy, that other game, Titanfall. Titanfall looks really cool. So I'm still high on that, but by far I think the hands down winner on the EA side was, if you're not a sports fan, and if you're a sports fan, feel free to just swing a gigantic Woody out into the world. You have every reason to, because it sounds awesome. But if you're not a sports fan, Battlefield 4.
Hey, breaking news coming across the wire.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots have signed Tim Tebow.
No.
No joke. No joke.
He's all yours.
It's all
you can have him.
Yep. I'm sitting there going, why is everybody on Facebook talking about Tim Tebow? And my phone just rang, and it was a friend of mine, big Patriots fan, and he just texted me, Tebow coming to New England.
Congratulations.
Oh,
all right.
No.
Well, I don't think that there were any clunkers in this thing, that's for sure. But it's definitely whetted my appetite. Do you feel a little bit better about games
for
the
whole next generation in general? I feel a little bit better. I'm still up in the air on Xbox or PS4. As we talked about, we could talk about that all night. So yeah, I do feel a little bit better that I'm finally seeing something gaming related that's taking it to the next level with the tablets and the 64 people in the game, which I think before was it 16 or 32?
Right.
Before, so they're finally utilizing next gen power for some better games, and that's what I was waiting for. And to this point, all I've got was can't play used games, can't share games, can't rent games, can't sell games. But you can watch TV on your Xbox on your TV. That's what I got through this week. And then Xbox this morning touched on some games. They didn't address any of the hot button issues. That's the elephant in the room still. But at least with EA, they give me some hope that whether it's Xbox or PS4, if I go with the new system at whatever point, that I'm going to see something that can't be played on the 360, an upgrade in games, an upgraded windmill, if you will.
Right. Well, you're going to hear more about what's headed out and different ways and new and better ways to play your games in just a few minutes, because in 15 minutes from now, we're going to have Ubisoft. We are going to be going once again live on Spreaker. Well, maybe I
don't know if I will be in on it. It all depends on how my night goes.
Nick's at work. Ollie's going to be busy.
Now where can we watch this? And I think Spike TV, at least on their guide, has signed off on coverage. So I don't know where we can watch Ubisoft and Sony.
Okay. Well, somebody asked when the Sony is. Sony is tonight. It's going to be 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure on Ubi's main page, but I would also believe that Spike is probably going to continue coverage of that, because I was watching it on Spike. But
you think I could see the Sony press conference on Xbox? That'd be awesome. Live event player.
Yeah. Also Ustream. You can always check Ustream. I'm sure if you look up just look up Ubisoft.
I think last time I tried to watch Ubisoft on my iPad on Ustream, and it gave me a heck of a time.
And Jason Webb says he's been watching it on TwitchTV.com.
Twitch TV, yeah. Oh, GameSpot. Wow, look at chat room go.
Yeah. Nice. So everyone, we'll see you. It may just be me, so I'm going to have to rely upon you guys.
Well, what to do is text me, okay? And if I'm not watching porn or anything like that, and I'm done dinner, I'll jump on.
Okay, good deal.
But I know I get like I say, it's supper time over here on regular time. I know out there on silly time, it's middle of the afternoon, but over here it's getting late. If I can jump on, I will. Send me a text. Let me know what's going on. We'll talk about it. So we got Ubisoft in 15, you said?
Ubisoft in 15, so probably within the next hour to hour and 10 minutes, depending on how long, because the EA's was fairly short. So I'm imagining Ubisoft is going to be very similar to that.
Yeah, what, they like 45 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, like 45 minutes. So probably
so we'll see
3 o'clock.
We'll see Splinter Cell, right?
4 o'clock. Yeah, we'll definitely see Splinter Cell.
Cool. And then tonight at 9, we got the Sony one. I'd like to stay up for that and maybe chat about that. I do have an early morning work on Tuesday, but if it only runs about an hour or so, We
will make it run an hour, dude. That's so.
No, I mean them.
Oh.
If Sony starts at 9 and they don't get done till 10:30, it's pushing into Google.
Possible. Yeah, it's possible. Well, we'll see. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys.
Follow us on Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Gamehounds, and also Gamer Goal. Yeah, I tweet a little bit as we watch. And follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, and see if we're back on. And it's good to see everybody back here in the chat room. It's been a big day for video games. It's good to see our crowd, our listeners,
our
jump in
peeps,
with us.
Our family, our tribe.
They are.
Our tribe. Our cult.
Our little hens.
And you all have to wear purple sweatsuits by the end of the day. All right, so we'll talk to you guys.
We all have to know the words to "Don't Stop Believing."
Right, that's how you get into the spaceship that's hiding behind the comet tail. All right, so we'll talk to you guys in about an hour. Bye-bye.